Take one glance at the 2019 Japanese Film Festival program and you'll see one film in the mix that stands out more than the others. Dance With Me is the brand new musical from director Shinobu Yaguchi, who is no stranger to the world of music, given his direction on the 2004 comedy Swing Girls. His new film is a dazzling crowd pleaser, and its catchy music and blockbuster scale brings to mind the technicolor fantasies of Hollywood's yesteryear. Yet despite the Hollywood comparisons, Dance With Me is a bit of an anomaly when it comes to Japanese cinema, and that's simply because Japan isn't really known for making musicals. But that isn't to say musicals like Dance With Me haven't existed in Japan before. So to celebrate the film and its screenings at this year's Japanese Film Festival Australia, we're exploring the genre's place in Japanese cinema, from the silent era right through to the modern day. The foundations of the Japanese musical can be traced as far back as 1924 with the hit film of that era, The Caged Bird, a silent film that was built around one massively popular song. But the musical genre as prescribed by Hollywood wouldn't rise to prominence until the 1950s and 1960s during post-war Japan. Glimpses of it could be seen in films like So Young, So Bright, a 1955 comedy starring three of Japan's most popular singers at the time, Misora Hibari, Yukimura Izumi, and Eri Chiemi. And in 1957 with the film A Jazz Girl Is Born, a film that recalls A Star Is Born and also features Eri Chiemi alongside famous singer and actor Yujiro Ishihara. The closest Japan arguably came to the Hollywood musical during this era, however, was with the 1964 film You Can Succeed Too, which tells the story of two competing salarymen striving for career success. The film is perhaps best remembered for its hilarious musical number about American values.
アメリカでは何でもかんでもアメリカ風さアメリカでは
Meanwhile, director Umetsugu Inoue made a name for himself as a massively influential musical filmmaker with the film The Stormy Man, a drama that boasted the sheen of Hollywood's musical productions and paired him with talents of megastar Yujiro Ishihara. Inoue's success in the genre even led him to work abroad, as the director was invited to make several musicals for Hong Kong's iconic Shaw Brothers studio. Interest in the genre soon waned, much like in Hollywood. Films like The Legend of the Stardust Brothers were commercial failures at the time, despite rising to cult status today. But eventually, the Japanese musical would rise once more in the modern era. The musical format was ripe for experimentation and allowed some of Japan's internationally beloved cult directors of the modern era to play around with the form. Tetsuya Nakashima, director of films like Confessions and Kamikaze Girls, made Memories of Matsuko, a hypersensory trip about a young man who pieces together the life of his aunt Matsuko. Shion Sono, director of films like Love Exposure and Guilty of Romance, made manga adaptation Tokyo Tribe, a dystopian hip-hop action musical that's equal parts West Side Story and The Warriors. And Takashi Miike has had a crack at the genre twice, first with The Happiness of the Katakuris, a bizarre remake of the South Korean black comedy A Quiet Family, and For Love's Sake, a musical that has a bit of everything from comedy, action, and romance. The modern era also saw a return to a more formal mode of musical movie making. Lady Maiko is a 2014 musical that puts a uniquely Japanese spin on the My Fair Lady story. More familiar in genre style to general audiences than previous examples, it's a film that simultaneously pays homage to the musicals that came before, just with an eccentric Japanese flair. Which all leads us to Dance With Me, a film that at once embraces the musical comedy origins of You Can Succeed Too, while also critiquing the absurdity of the genre. And that's perhaps the beauty of the Japanese musical. Though filmmakers have historically acknowledged the tropes of the genre and even embrace it, they also aren't strictly beholden to another country's definition of what the genre should be. The musical genre was engineered and sold to the world by Hollywood, but like many of America's cultural exports, Japan's filmmakers have made the musical distinctly their own.